Well, hey, Ann Johnson.
Hi, Pete. How are you? Good to see you.
It's great to see you. It's great to be here doing a show for you today.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be on and love the fact that we are able to reach across the country and be together tonight on Zoom.
Yes, I totally agree. I love doing these shows, and I especially love doing the show for you and for Texas and your district. And yes, we're going to have a good time today.
We are, and I'm really grateful that you have me on and give us a chance to talk with everybody in the nation potentially, because we are the most important seat on the ballot, impacting everybody that you may never heard of or why. And so I look forward to us being able to tell people later.
Is that like a cliffhanger?
It's a total cliffhanger. It's cliffhanger.
Well, all right. Well, I'm excited for you and also for our great musical guest, Joe Newberry, who I'm kind of enamored with. So he'll be up a little bit later. But I guess the first thing is, I think I'm going to play some music. All right. Let me get rid of these headphones. Otherwise, I can't hear myself. There we go. Hey, everybody. Hey, where are you going? Who's that guy standing next to you? Well, I never really liked Cretans. Well, he's short and hairy, he carries a gun too. I never knew nothing about love. The other shoe don't fit like a glove. Well, hey, there's a role reversal. I don't think I can get used to this. Well, I'm not too controversial, but the more beer I drink, the more I'm pissed. I never knew nothing about love. The other shoe don't fit like a glove. Well, are you affair with a friend? Well, I think I'm at my rope's end, and I feel like I'm just killing time, 'cause I can't stop on just one penny dime. Well, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. I said, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. I never knew nothing about love. The other shoe don't fit like a glove. Caught between two worlds, and all alone I wanted to go back, but you can't go home. You put me too high, but I could not fly. Now you find I've fallen from a pedestal. Lessons learned. Well, I never knew nothing about love. No, no, no. The other shoe don't fit like a glove. Like a glove. Well, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. I said, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Like a glove. All right. That was from my first album. And the rest of these songs, I think, are going to be from this album I'm releasing very shortly, actually, in 2 weeks. I don't know. This is like the first time I'm ever doing this. This is weird. I'm gonna promote something I'm doing, which is the weirdest thing. Anyway, I have a new album coming out, and you might hear that song in a bit. But okay, I never do that. I'm not kidding. Anyway, so this song is my newest song, and my wife is actually working on a campaign. She left our house back in November, and she's living in Sedona, Arizona right now, working on a state Senate race for a candidate down there. And then the pandemic happened, and I started writing this song. And then I got together with a friend of mine, Viola Kraus, and the song actually became bigger than just about one person. When the world is a little bit colder, you can be the blanket for me. When this world is a little bit darker, you're the light I can see. If your arms cannot hold me, it's your love I still feel, and your heart is the only beating thing that is real. Stay safe, stay safe, until you're home here with me. Stay safe, stay safe. Home is where you should be. I remember what it was like before everything changed. In such a short time, we hardly talk now. We should be able to agree. Have we forgotten what's important? We argue endlessly, but we're still human, and it's not right. We all want the same thing. Stay safe, stay safe, until you're home here with me. Stay safe, stay safe. Home is where you should be. Home is where you should be. Until you're home here with me. Stay safe, everyone. So safety in a world like we live in right now is kind of, just even since the pandemic has changed. Now people all over the West Coast and all over the country are facing a new threat. It's like, I feel like a newscaster now, of wildfires everywhere, and it's a crazy thing that we can't actively address climate change. And so this next song was inspired by, there's this little park near my house, and I'd sit on the park bench and I'd see all these little animals around me, and I realized how vulnerable they are, and the same way that we are. So this is another song that I wrote with a couple of great folks, Mimi Hearn and Chris Harback. sitting in the garden chair. There's a roly-poly over there, touching many rolls into a ball. There's no plan B for the roly-poly. Got a feeling we're headed for a fall. Rising tides will sink our shores. Bumblebees won't buzz no more. Butterflies won't have a place to rest. Sink or swim, will we still care? Will the roly-poly still be there if we say we've done our very best? The garden grows all our food. The roly-poly lives there too. Like me and you, he wants grandkids too. Do I choose to sit and wait where the choices that we make? Is there something more that we can do? Can I make a difference to what happens next? Yeah, there's some things I could do. Rising tides will sink our shores. Bumblebees won't buzz no more. Butterflies won't have a place to rest. Sink or swim, will we still care? Will the roly-poly still be there if we say we've done our very best? Can we handle what will happen next? Well, I think, what's already happening is pretty bad. What's going to happen next? I don't know. But, Texas has faced really bad issues with climate change, especially the Houston area. That's not very good. We just need to do a little bit better. And there's things that we can do. It's not like crazy stuff. So I think I'm gonna do one more song. And this is I'm gonna do it again. I can't believe I'm doing this. This is like really strange for me. I'm gonna do this song. So now that that wasn't much of a cliffhanger, so I blew it, Anne. Anyway, so I'm just gonna say this, that Anne is gonna get up next. Dan's gonna talk about a little bit about maybe the reasons why she's running, the things that she's the issues that she's running on. But here's a couple things that Anne won't tell you. First of all, the folks who run for state legislative seats, and especially in Texas, and I'll get to the especially in Texas. Everybody who's running for these state legislative seats, they're giving up time away from their family and their friends. They're giving up nights and weekends. It is a thankless job to run for office, and often, Anne has her own business, and and has been a teacher. I think is currently a teacher, right? Yep. I see her shaking her head in the background. Yep. You can't see her, but I can. Folks who run for office in Texas, you know how much they make a year? I bet you don't know. I bet you don't know how much they make a year. So there is a stipend, but I'm going to give you the annual salary of a Texas legislator. It's $7,200 a year. And I believe that is when they're in session. So, that is just another form, along with gerrymandering. It's another form of a kind of voter suppression. So here's the thing. If you're lucky enough to have economic means, if you have a job right now, a small donation will go a long way in Anne's campaign. State legislative campaigns, the budgets are really small compared to congressional races. And so give what you can. And if you give something and I find out about it, which I should get a report, then I'll send you some songs for my new album. And if you have more time than you have economic resources, then please, work for the campaign. The main thing that we need right now is for folks to make phone calls. And phone calls, it's just talking to people. It's really like a really easy way to make a big contribution. And a lot of these races come down to just a few votes. I've seen it almost firsthand. I worked with a candidate who lost by, actually she tied and lost by the draw out of a name out of a bowl. So anyway, here's my subtle message for y'all. I'm gonna tell you all, it's time to kick your ass in gear. It's time to tear down fear. Do something now. The moment has arrived. We can tell we're alive and do more than survive. Do something now. It's time we do something. Do something. Do something now. Do something. Do something. Do something now. Don't just bitch and moan. Time to get on the phone. To be sure, just knock on doors when it's safe. It's forward, ho. It's time we do something. Do something. Do something now. Do something. Do something. Do something now. Polar bears can't swim forever. Guns killed 7 kids today. 10 more lies, yeah. He's a Russian spy. Women's rights are being stripped away. It's time we do something. Do something. Do something now. 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 I'm gonna tell you all, it's time to kick your ass in gear. All right. Well, that's what I got for now. So, Anne, there you are.
Thank you so much. I love your set.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
We're ready to get started. You're right. It's absolutely time to do something now.
I wrote that like a year ago, and I felt the urgency back then. And now I'm like my hair's on fire as well as the wildfires up here. It's like crazy. So yeah, it's time to. It's like really simple to do something. So I'm going to turn it over to you. It's the thing that you're going to do something is you're going to tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm down in Houston, Texas, and we are thinking of you all in California with the wildfires that you are having out there, the devastation that we're seeing, photographs that people are taking. Our hearts are with you. We're also thinking about people in other places when we deal with this public health crisis of this pandemic of COVID-19. I was on a call earlier today where someone was letting me know that they'd lost their mother to COVID-19. And so we know the impact of this public health crisis is hitting so many people in every form, personally with great loss. Economically, we're feeling a lot of anxiety. And so I agree with you. When I set out to run for this office more than a year ago, it felt like an incredibly important moment. And even today is just heightened so much more. So I do want to talk with everybody about why we knew this was such an important election cycle starting in 2020 and why this particular race in Texas is so important to the entire nation. And you may have not even heard about us yet. But I'm Ann Johnson running in House District 134, which is one of the key seats that can flip from red Republican to blue Democrat. And it's needed as one of 9 seats that if we flip these seats in Texas, we take the Texas House. Why is that so vital to you and wherever you are? It's because redistricting comes up this cycle. Whoever gets elected this time in our state legislatures will determine what state house, state senate, and congressional lines will look like for a decade. So let me tell you what Republicans in Texas did the last time, a decade ago, when they got to draw the lines. Even though we vote maybe 53% Republican statewide, They drew our congressional districts, which are 36 districts that go to DC. They drew them a 2/3 guarantee to be Republican. That's not fair. And that's not who we are in Texas. And that's not who we are with the impact that it has on the nation and how that comes into play for so many others. But we can change it, and we can change it this cycle by winning these 9 seats, winning in a seat here where we should absolutely have a strong Democratic candidate. And so let me tell you about what we're going to stand for. We're going to stand for saving lives. And when we talk about saving lives, we'll talk about expanding Medicaid in Texas. We are one of just 11 states that have refused to expand Medicaid on purely partisan grounds. And because of that, we have the highest rate of uninsured children in the nation. We have millions of Texans without coverage. And Texas has also been impacted with this economically because it's left $100 billion from coming back into our state. I, too, am a cancer survivor. And so I sit in the position of countless Texans that I survived cancer and I'm completely healthy. But from the moment I survived, I had a new battle that started with insurance companies because of policies that have kept them from being able to give me coverage because of pre-existing condition. And in Texas, it is our Texas Republicans that are sitting at the Texas or United States Supreme Court to try to take away Affordable Care Act and Obamacare, not just from our state, but from everybody in the nation. And so this has a significant impact if we can undo the extreme Republican partisanship that has had a hold on Texas. We also are going to address issues like common sense gun reform. I am proud to stand with Moms Demand Action because we have had 4 of the top 10 mass shootings in the United States, in Texas, in the last 2 years. And our legislature, who's loyal to the NRA, have failed to act. We absolutely need to fight for issues like background checks, extreme risk protection orders, and safe storage positions. We also in Texas are in a position to lead on a new economy, and that's around renewable energy. Just like you said, we've all felt the devastating impact of extreme weather. And it is time that we address climate change and the win-win. Because in Texas, because we have this huge state, we have what are West Texas winds, solar, and coastal winds. We in Texas could 80% renewable energy within 10 years. If we just add a public commitment to what the oil and gas industry locally is already telling me they're moving towards, which is an energy transition. Our private sector understands it. It is time that our public sector no longer be run by Republicans who have buried their head in the sand and pretended that climate change is not a reality. We will actually advance these issues on climate change and a renewable energy economy. Finally, public education in Texas. We are running like 49th and having kids with a high school diploma. That's absolutely unacceptable. We have seen where our Republican leadership has gutted public education. And it has not only put our state, but it has put our nation in a bad position. I will absolutely fight for public education and to ensure that every child has an opportunity to succeed. Because probably like you, I believe if people are healthy and educated, they will take care of themselves. And that is the most important responsibility that we should have as a government. And so I look forward to those opportunities and to do it. And you might say, well, Ann, this is a tough task you're talking about taking on in Texas, flipping the Texas House and advancing these great issues through your state legislature. This is not the first time I have taken on a tough task. More than a decade ago, I was appointed to represent a 13-year-old little girl who was charged with prostitution. I believed that that was wrong, and I began fighting that case. And in the courthouse, I would run into lawyers who will say, Ann, why do you bother? You can't change it. It's just the way we've always done it. We've done it like this for 25 years. And I remember saying, well, the last court in the land is going to have to tell me so. I am proud to tell you that we finally got to the Texas Supreme Court after years, and we won. And when we won on behalf of that child, it not only protected our client and the children in Texas, but it actually was a landmark decision, a case of first impression that protected children nationwide and advancing and protecting child victims of human trafficking. I've done this training nationwide, and when I do, I've had people in other states say, really? This decision came out of Texas? Absolutely. And so I'm proud to tell you that with your help, we can absolutely flip the Texas House. And you can finally be in a position of believing when we say that we can turn Texas blue, we absolutely can. Because we are not a red state. We are simply a non-voting state. And your help in having us determine fair maps for this next decade will change everything. And so, Pete, that's why we are one of the most important races in this nation that nobody has thought about. And I'm so glad that you're helping us spread the message.
Oh, wow. And that made me emotional. I got to say, yeah. So a non-voting state, that's one of the reasons why I got into this, is because I realized that, it's Texas and it's around this whole country. The biggest problem is that people hadn't voted in 2016 and beyond. And, and people can have just an unbelievable impact. And when we realize that our vote and our voice matters, then we can change things just like you did. So Ann, I understand you're originally from Houston. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And not only were you, did you bring this human trafficking case to the state Supreme Court, but you were the chief prosecutor for human trafficking. Is that correct?
Yeah. So after that case, I became one of the few experts in the nation around human trafficking, and went back to the DA's office. I'd been a prosecutor before, but I went back to the DA's office with the goal of trying to advance these alternative programs. And our belief was arrest is recovery, not conviction. And so our goal was to identify those victims, many women and kids who were being caught in the criminal justice system, perceived as offenders when they were really victims of human trafficking. And so we made a big shift. We tried to divert prosecution away from those individuals and to go after the people that were exploiting them, the people that were making a profit off of them, the people that literally were raping them in our streets and in our hotels locally. And so it's been a big fight, and we're not done.
We're not done. But, having the right people in elected office makes a huge difference to, and, one of the people who helps me on this is Linda Allen, and you've probably seen her comment in the chat. I'm a big Linda Allen fan, but we worked together in Virginia, and we saw what happened when we can flip the state legislature. So, also, Ann, you're a teacher.
I am. I teach at South Texas College of Law. I've been teaching almost 20 years now, and the fun fact on that is I teach a class with my mom, so it's great. You
teach a class with your mom? That's so sweet.
Yeah, it's great.
What is that like? Is that like, do you take turns up speaking, or, who writes the syllabus?
So she absolutely writes the syllabus. My mom is a judge, and she actually got her master's in judicial studies around jury selection. So she started the course. I came in, started teaching it with her years ago, and we yin and yang. She is very much a judge sitting from the bench, and I'm very much more of a courtroom advocate. And so we often tell the students, she's going to tell you to do one thing, and I'm going to tell you to do another. But between the two of us, you're going to figure out why it works for you and what to do. So it's great.
Okay, and there's one more thing that I know, like one little snippet about you, but I don't know enough, and I think other people might be kind of curious. So you also own a small business.
So I have my own practice of law, which means we struggle with getting insurance, right? We have our own practice. We have our own obligations. And I do often indigent defense in our court system. Many times courts will ask me to come in and represent those individuals caught in the criminal justice system who cannot afford a lawyer. And I also continue to represent victims of sexual exploitation. So I continue the fight for victims of human trafficking in private practice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. To get competent gratis representation is the difference between, course, sending someone on a course where they, have a life or they don't. So, wow, that's huge. So you said the word insurance, and, you have people working for you, I assume, in your small business. And the thing that really kills me is that, this whole idea of Medicaid expansion into all the states, including Texas, it was no cost to the taxpayers. That was already stuff that was paid for.
It was a benefit.
Yeah.
It was a benefit in Texas. So if we had done this a decade ago, it's a 9-to-1 exchange. The Texas would spend $1 and the federal government would bring back $9, much of which was our federal taxes we'd already paid to insure up our medical system. And because we haven't done it, the thing that I don't think people understand is coverage is not just so the individual can have access to healthcare, but it's also so that our medical community can get paid and our doctors can get paid. And when people get sick, doctors still treat them. And those uninsured, undercompensated costs either get pushed to those of us that have insurance and higher premiums or pushed off to us as taxpayers. in our property appraisals here in Harris County. And so it was one of those things, we turned down the money and ended up spending $4 billion a year to compensate for the cost. There is no economic analysis around that makes sense. And more importantly, there's no human analysis in denying people access to healthcare coverage when you could have given it to them.
And just to be really, because I feel like I can say something that's a little bit more direct. This is just a political decision. It's a way to garner votes and retain political power. And there's traditionally, at least in the last decades, the Democrats have been pushing for full coverage of healthcare. And then your point about economic growth, I mean, that applies to both healthcare and to climate change, about growing jobs. So, yeah, I think that the Democratic Party now is the party of economic growth.
Yeah, I think hopefully, knock on wood, Vice President Biden and Senator Kamala Harris, and hopefully they're in a position of being in the leadership. But when they say build back better, that's exactly right. We are talking about, when we talk about infrastructure, when we talk about investments in renewable energy, we are talking about building back our economy on our soil with our people. And so you're absolutely right. When we talk about healthcare coverage, we're just ensuring people that can get treatment. Think about how many more people will go to the doctor for their blood work, for their well checkup, when they actually have coverage. That means more jobs within our medical community, not less.
More jobs, and as they get jobs, it also builds the tax base so you can have better services. So it's like this thing that feeds on each other, and that's what built the middle class in the 1950s. That's when America actually cared about people's growth who didn't have, and we had a path for people to break out of the low paying kind of jobs that people are stuck in right now.
Yep.
Yeah. So that is awesome. Well, there's another thing that was on your website that I didn't know about. It was SB4. As I saw in quotes, show me your papers legislation. And so what is that about?
So this is really disheartening piece of legislation that actually my opponent sponsored. And I'm in a weird position because I mentioned to you that Beto won our district. I may have mentioned Beto won our district by 60%, which is the high watermark. But this Republican incumbent kind of stinks away with a win because she describes herself and claims to be a moderate because she's taken a couple of good votes around choice that she claims this moderate label. But SB4 is the badge of who she really is. After you had President Trump, after you had the hate speech that was coming out, in 2017, my opponent sponsored Senate Bill 4 in Texas, which is the anti-immigration show me your papers legislation. Worse is it pits law enforcement against communities of color in our local area. And so having been your chief human trafficking prosecutor, I can tell you it cuts us off at the knees, at the very thing we were always trying to make sure the most vulnerable members of our community understood, which was we are going to be there and protect you no matter who you are, no matter what your status is. And when you tell certain people that appear of a certain background, you don't want to call the police because you might risk deportation. You just created an entirely new vulnerable population. It is the kind of disgraceful hate piece of legislation that serves no purpose in Texas. We are a diverse community. We recognize the strength in our immigrants. Something like 40% of our small business are immigrants. And so that's not who we are as Texans. That's part of the reason we're working so hard to flip this seat and have a true representative of our district in the House.
Wow. Well, you make me want to move to the Houston area.
Just get there before you time to register to vote. So we would love to have you and get your registration established and get us some help or get people to get out and vote for us or work for us.
So there's some dates on your website, which I took a picture of, and I'm going to put it up, and it's going to cover us on our video, but there you go. It covers us completely. But these are the key dates that people need to know, right?
Yes, absolutely. So last day to register to vote if you are living in our area or anywhere in Texas. This is key. Remember, we're not a red state. We're a non-voting state. So if you're in Texas and you are inspired about what I'm saying, let me tell you, I am one of 9 candidates running statewide. We are working in a coordinated effort to flip the Texas House. So if you don't live in 134, you might live in one of the other districts where you can help lift and flip the state. And so last day to register to vote, I believe, is October 5th. Our voting starts October 13th for early vote. We've had a lot of battles here in mail-in voting. We've had Republicans trying to keep us from mail-in voting despite the pandemic of COVID. And so we're going to play by the rules that they set in place. We're going to go vote early. We're going to vote by mail for those who can, and we're going to show up at the polls. The day to show up is by November 3rd, and we're going to do everything we can to get as many people turned out as possible.
And then I would just say to others is that, yeah, it's important to vote, but take 3 people with you. You know, make sure that your friends are registered. It's good. It's a good conversation to have. If you're listening to this, then you care, you know, and you know, the way that we win collectively is by encouraging others to get engaged and to vote and to make phone calls. And, you know, that's why we're doing the music thing. You know, it's just really simple. It's, you know, it's like the more people that get engaged, the better. Well, and, you know, you really need to win. and the way you win is everybody, you know, builds you up. I mean, you know, like, as I said earlier, my wife is involved in a campaign. She won't let me say she's managing a campaign because they won't give her the title in the Arizona Democratic Party. But that's what she's doing. Anyway, but so I've seen the hard work that goes on for the candidates and also for everybody who helps work with the candidates. And, you know, it is a community effort. And so the more people get engaged, it is transformative. It happened to me, and it could happen to everybody. You know, getting engaged and then seeing things change, you know that you can be part of the solution. You know, it takes away, you know, like I have this normal thing that I talk about cynicism. It takes that cynicism and puts it into a compartment where it belongs. So.
Yes, you definitely feel better when you're out and being active. And so, like, right now, we're not knocking on doors, but we're doing lit drops because we're being responsive to COVID and not having contact with people. But I'll tell you, just getting out and participating at every level, that small step, it makes you feel like you're making progress as a community. So you're absolutely right.
Well, and, you know, I'm very excited about your campaign, and you're going to win.
Knock on wood. Yes.
Knock on the wood that's in the background here, and that's virtual, but and real wood too. So we're going to bring up Joe Newberry right now, and you know, I could say that Joe has won like the IBMA Gospel Recorded Performance Award. I could say that Joe won in 2013 the Song of the Year award. I mean, I could even say that Joe is he was a regular on the Prairie Home Companion. But you know what Joe is? He's awesome. He's such a good soul. And I love Joe. I love that he is he's playing for us today. So let's hear from Joe for a little bit.
Howdy. And what an honor to play for you. And Pete, thank you for having me, and thanks to the whole team. You know, I was telling my friends that I was playing for this wonderful candidate down in Texas, and they said, Texas? And I said, you know, Dr. King said, well, we may have come on different ships, but we're all in the same boat. And that's sort of how I feel it is. So I'm going to sing and play a little bit. It's sort of like when the Carter family went down to Texas. They would go out, they would play on the radio, they'd go out and meet folks, and they'd have a product that they wanted to share with people. And our product is Ann Johnson. And so if you live in Texas and you're on my Facebook friends list, or if you have family in Texas, check it out and check Ann out. So I'm going to try one that comes from the singing of Ralph Stanley. It's good advice. It's called Willing to Try. Ralph wrote the first 2 verses and I wrote the last. I may not be able to sing like the heavenly angels. I may not be able to preach like Paul. I may not be able to walk on the water like Peter. But I'm willing to try. No, I may not be able to walk like him. And I may not be able to talk like him. I may not be able to preach like Paul. I may not be able to walk like him, and I may not be able to talk like him. But I'm willing to try. I may not have the obedience of Abraham's sacrifice. I may not be able to stand so tall. I may not have the endurance of Moses in the wilderness. But I'm willing to try. I may not be able to walk like him, and I may not be able to talk like him. I may not be able to preach like Paul. I may not be able to walk like him, and I may not be able to talk like him. But I'm willing to try. I may not have the conviction of Saul on the road to Damascus. I may not have his faith at all. I may not rise to heaven singing and a-shouting. But I'm willing to try. No, I may not be able to walk like him, and I may not be able to talk like him. I may not be able to preach like Paul. I may not be able to walk like him, and I may not be able to talk like him. But I'm willing to try. Well, I mentioned the Carter family. It's hard to do a program like this without doing a Carter family song, and they spend a lot of time down in Texas. They're from Virginia, but they spend a lot of time in Texas. This is called You've Been a Friend to Me. My bark of life was tossing down the troubled stream of time, when first I saw your smiling face and youth was in its prime. I'll never forget wherever I roam, wherever you may be. If ever I have had a friend, you've been that friend to me. Misfortune nursed me as her child and loved me fondly too. I would have had a broken heart had it not been for you. I'll never forget wherever I roam, wherever you may be. If ever I have had a friend, you have been that friend to me. Now I look back upon my past, across life's troubled sea, and smile to think amid all life seems you've been that friend to me. I'll never forget wherever I roam, wherever you may be. If ever I have had a friend, you've been that friend to me. If ever I have had a friend, you've been that friend to me. So I'm hoping that you'll get out and you'll vote for my friend Ann Johnson. And I know that you're not going to pop back in and out, but I wanted to let you know that my dad was also a judge in Old Missouri. And so I know what it's like to be a judge's kid. And how cool that you get to work with your mom. And please give your mom my best, because that's pretty awesome. Okay, I have a banjo. I know it sounds like a threat. It's more of a promise. And hey, Kathy Fox, she just popped up on my screen. I'm going to do a banjo tune in Ann's honor. It's called Texas Gales. I'll do a couple more and then we'll kick it back to the team. I always like, banjo can be delicate and pretty, and I'll play one that a lot of folks have heard. It's an old tune, but a lot of folks have heard it. There we go. All right. It's nice to see my friends popping in here, and hey to everybody. So yesterday I started thinking I need to write Ann Johnson something, and something popped up on my YouTube feed, and it was Louis Armstrong singing "What a Wonderful World," and I thought I don't know, I just started thinking I'm going to write something for Ann. I see a planet green, red, white, and blue. I see a bright future for me and you, and I know that we can build a wonderful world. I see Texas go blue, folks doing right, spreading sunshine after such a long night, and I know that we can build a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so brightly aglow, are also on the faces of voters who know. I see folks working hard, saying, please lend a hand, but what they're really saying, we love this land. Healthcare, education, the economy, they're important to Ann Johnson and to you and me. She's helping us all build a wonderful world. Help Ann Johnson build a wonderful world. Best of luck, Ann. I tell you what, if I didn't live here in North Carolina, I know where I'd be moving. I'd be moving down to Houston, Texas, because you are great.
Thank you. And my heart feels like it's going to explode. We have had so many things happen with this campaign, but I cannot think of a better moment than this. I'm absolutely honored at all that y'all have done, the way that you've jumped into our campaign. And it really is like filling up our gas tank. You make me realize how important this race is to so many people across the nation. And I promise you, we will fight like hell because we agree with everything you're saying and we know how important it is. So I really thank you so much. It's been a very special hour.
Well, thank you to Joe. I just have this special place in my heart for Joe.
Thank you. Right back at you, Pete.
And also I want to mention there's a lot of people in the background. So you see, although you don't see names, Linda Allen, Jennifer Brightman, and Emma, who is the campaign manager for Ann's race. And that's just the start of a lot of people who make both Ann's race happen and also these shows. And I just, this is such a joy to go do this. And Ann, we're going to go watch you win and watch you be a great, elected official and represent the people of the state of Texas. So, and your district. And yeah, couldn't think of a better person to do it. Mm. So, wow. All right. I'm still emotional from Joe's song. Well, okay. So I just want to thank everyone for watching, and we'll see how it goes on November 3rd. We'll be there watching you win, Ann. So
go, Ann.
Absolutely.
All right.
Man.
Take care. Right. Stay safe, everybody.
Yeah, stay safe, everybody. Thanks so much for watching.
See you later.